I had an encounter not long after I experienced the awakening. I was in a waiting room somewhere, and this huge guy came in. Compared to him, I'm just this puny little guy sitting there, and he planted himself in front of me, and obviously enjoying his power. I can't remember what he wanted. He wanted something, and I could sense that sense of presence intensifying. And I just looked, and he said a few things, and suddenly he became extremely disconcerted, because there was no attempt on my part to put up any kind of defense or compete in any way. And he got deflated like a balloon and didn't know what to say or do anymore. That's an interesting phenomenon. So the important thing for you is, in any situation, be in touch with that inherent power of presence, because ultimately that is the power of now. Ultimately the now is the presence, and the presence is you. So, and ultimately you are, in its deepest sense, you are the now, because the now is the presence. And this is why I speak of the power of now. The power of now is also the power of you, and not the personal you, but the you that remains and never was not connected, and always is connected, and always is an intrinsic part of universal power itself, universal consciousness itself, the one consciousness that underlies all phenomena, the one consciousness of which all phenomena are only a temporary expression. So there's enormous power there. How that manifests in this world is a secondary thing. Perhaps it only manifests as an emanation that comes through you, or it flows into something that you do or create. And it's a great thing to feel that power, which is not comparative, because you know that everybody else is also a temporary expression of that inherent power, although most people don't know it. It's the famous guy that I spoke of in perhaps the power of now. The beggar is sitting on this old box for many years, asking for little coins, and then somebody says, "What's inside that box? I've never looked." And it's filled with gold. And I gave that analogy or parable at the beginning of the power of now. So that is discovering that power in you, and for most people, they're looking for little substitutes to give them a sense of who they are. And of course, this is the reason why it is not unusual for humans to awaken spiritually, to awaken to who they are in their essence, when either one big thing or many things that they had derived their identity from, good looks, physical strength, possessions, abilities to do this or that, recognition, social status in society, those things, and suddenly they lose these things, or they lose one big thing that was the main, that gave them their sense of identity, the one main thing that gave them their sense of identity, and that's gone. And that's, of course, would be, at first, is terrible suffering, and then it can force a human to that deeper place, because out here, unless you quickly, the ego might make an attempt to quickly rebuild some mind-made identity by creating another narrative. That's possible too. Not every human who loses, who experiences great loss necessarily goes to that deeper place, but the potential is there. So it could be a sports person who is great, who is great master of some sports, and then he or she has an accident, can never participate in that activity again, and that gave him or her the sense of identity. It at first leads to terrible suffering. And then potentially there is a deepening there. And the essence, then you are forced into your essence.